Hello and good evening and welcome to this webinar on Lean Projects Management. So first off, our constant reminder of Dr. Akram's 6 principles for effective project management, given a competent project manager is on board. So today's webinar is really a very special topic because according to my own beliefs, every project, every organization need to be lean and agile. So being lean and being agile as an organization as a whole or as within a project is no longer optional because it is the logic thing to do, and the right thing to do is to be a lean organization. So how does what we are talking about today aligns with Dr. Akram's 6 principles given a competent project manager is on board? We have our first principle is related to inputs. Our second is related to management, which is divided into administration and leadership. Third principle, which is maintain visibility using S-curves and earned value analysis. Our fourth principle is differentiate between project life cycle and project management life cycle. Our fifth is differentiate between project deliverables and project management deliverables. And the final principle is one must use a project management software all the time with great proficiency. So here we are talking about principles related to the very foundation of project management without actually discussing the internal logic and build of lean project management or otherwise. So here, once again, we have further explanation where we say management is divided into administration and leadership, and leadership equals to communication plus emotional intelligence, which result in influence. And of course, part of leadership is also facilitation. Okay, why do we always face a question related to agile project management and lean project management? And when I state that all organizations need to be lean and agile, how come I did not say only lean, since agile is actually a subset of lean? And if it's lean and agile is part of lean, so why do we always distinguish and say lean and agile? Because actually it's not a so simple differentiation like this Venn diagram, because lean here is a mindset. We're talking about lean mindset. Lean mindset as a mindset. So as a mindset, yes, agile is essentially part of lean thinking. However, as a methodology, when we talk about lean as a methodology, again, it could be somewhere here. Like we have here lean somewhere here, and it could be overlapping with other methodologies. And when we speak about lean project management, like we say here, like for example, lean manufacturing or lean construction or lean whatever. And then we have, for example, lean project management. Lean project management. So also lean project management is a subset of lean. So, but agile has to fulfill the agile manifesto, and here we see that Kanban Kanban is also a subset of lean. And it's actually, when we speak about Kanban as a subset of lean, we are not speaking only of lean as a mindset, but actually also lean as a methodology. Kanban is very essential part of lean. So lean is a superset for agile and Kanban. And lean and agile have a shared heritage. Both are concerned with delivering value. Both favor respect for people. Both are about minimizing waste. Both emphasize being transparent, as well as adapting to change and continuously improving. So when I speak about everybody, every organization, every manager, every project manager has to be lean and agile, I am speaking about mindsets. We have to assume a lean mindset and an agile mindset. And we will discuss why further down this webinar, as with regards to how it applies to projects management. So it's very important to understand that one of the very basic and important tools in lean management is value stream thinking and value stream mapping. And we start somewhere with a SIPOC, which is a way to illustrate what happens between supplier and inputs to a process, as well as outputs to the process and how the final product reaches the customer. So we map out the route of materials from raw materials within the supplier's control and ending up with the finished product in the custody of the final customer. So it's very important to understand that when we speak about lean, we have to visualize our value we have to visualize our value through a value stream mapping. Here we have a Kanban board which mimics the process step by step, like a Cybook. And this is the Kanban that I have used to manage projects at least 2 or 3 years before I have first heard of Agile project management. I was already a PMP and a certified Six Sigma Black Belt, and Lean is part of Six Sigma methodology. Lean is a subset of Six Sigma. So I knew about Lean, and I also knew about project management, and I needed for a special kind of short-term projects, frequent and short-term projects, I needed a methodology to plan as well as execute and monitor and control such projects. So I reached the conclusion to use a Kanban board to help me visualize my process. And I was only applying Lean tools and Six Sigma tools to improve the process I was responsible for. And I ended up with such a Kanban board. And after that was at least 2-3 years, I started to learn about Scrum and Agile, and I realized that I have applied Lean to project management, and I ended up with Agile, or what I thought is Agile or similar to Agile. So the question now is, Lean the same? Lean project management, is it the same as Agile project management? A short answer is no. And how about what I did here? Is it Agile project management or Lean project management? The answer is neither, because Agile project management is a much more sophisticated and advanced system than what I have applied here. And the same goes for Lean project management. So both systems are sophisticated systems, and they both have their place. And as a matter of fact, when I say we have to be Lean and Agile, I also emphasize that when managing projects, all projects, using any methodology, even if I'm using a strict traditional waterfall methodology, I need as a project manager to apply the waterfall methodology while assuming a Lean and Agile mindset. So I here emphasize and re-emphasize that the application or the assumption of a Lean and Agile mindset is not optional for any successful manager or any successful organization. So now let's talk about the principles of Lean. We have Lean, and when we speak about Lean here, we are speaking about Lean as a structured methodology used in production, in industrial production. So we're not talking about Lean project management here. So when I came up with this board, it was this kind of Lean framework which I had in mind. So our first step is to identify value. Second step, here, when I say identify value, I try to sit in the customer seat, and from the customer seat, I ask myself, what value does this organization provide me? So my organization could be providing 5, 10, more or less ways of making value available to the disposal of customers. So I have to single out one of these values, and I call it a value stream, and I start to map it. I move back from the customer to the very beginning of the value stream. So I map essentially the supply chain, the entire supply chain, complete with the entire processes within the factory itself. So I have to identify value, I have to map the value stream, then I have to start to create flow. And after I create flow, and flow means continuous delivery of value, I have to establish a system that ensures that value is continuously being delivered to the customer. Then I establish pull, and when I establish pull, I end up with seeking perfection or continuous improvement. So when Lean first ever came about and we heard of it, all these sciences of management, project management, I always repeat this, are very recent and new. So when we heard about them for the first time, it was almost at the same time that everybody around the world outside very, very, very narrow closed circuits has heard about them. So when we first heard about Lean, we believed that Lean meant just in time. And of course, just in time, JIT also had a very integral part, which is FIFO, first in, first out, FIFO. And even though at this time it's almost 30 years today, I was still a student, undergraduate student studying for an engineering, and just-in-time purchasing and first in, first out, and warehouses management. It's not really that related to engineering, but our professors were very fascinated by this concept, so we start to hear about it in the mid-90s, early 90s actually. And then when we learned more, we start to be told that it is pull, not push. Pull production and not pull production and not push. And it is how the Japanese car manufacturing has outperformed the American car manufacturing. So again, even though today we are not talking about just in time and first in, first out, and we're not talking about pull, but it's still the most fundamental underlying logic behind Lean and Lean projects management. So what are lean project management principles versus lean principles? Like we said, lean principles is specify value, identify the value stream, flow, pull, perfection. Actually, our most latest latest definition that we received, like I said, we heard about lean for the first time as just in time and FIFO. Then we became more advanced. We learned about pull. And finally, we learned that it is elimination of waste. Elimination of waste. Elimination of waste. So again, it became the definition of lean for us. So elimination of waste actually only happens here to create flow. We eliminate waste to create flow. And when we talk about just-in-time and FIFO, we also use it to streamline the value stream. And we also use establish pull, which is again here as an independent step, but it is also applicable to creating flow, which is an adjustment to our value stream to create flow, so or to enhance flow. And seek perfection is continuous improvement to every aspect of our cycle. So lean project management principles are essentially eliminate waste, empowerment, respect, and integrity. Decide later, deliver fast. In Agile, we say fail fast, recover early. So here, decide later, deliver fast, and we can see how Agile was very much influenced by the lean project management principles. Amplify learning, see the whole or the whole picture, as well as manage risks. So these are top level principles. If I am using agile project management, I need to eliminate waste. I need to empower and respect. So here, when I say eliminate waste, is it leadership or management? It's more of management than leadership. How about empowerment, respect, and integrity? So is empowerment, respect, and integrity, is it administration and business administration part of management, or is it the leadership aspect of management? No, this is more of a leadership aspect of management. Decide later and deliver fast. Again, it is a framework for a mindset related to decision making, which is an administrative side where you set a policy and a standard of practice, and you then need to apply it and enforce it using leadership skills. And amplify learning, again, it's the same, administrative and leadership. See the whole picture. This is practice and behavior, and it's closer to leadership. And of course, risk management is more of an administrative side rather than a leadership side. And it's very interesting because it gives lean management its distinction. So when we talk about lean management and how it's different from waterfall and how it's different from agile, it has to do with risk management and risk contingency. So what we normally do in norm in traditional planning, when we are estimating tasks, we try to be as accurate as possible and include some extra time or extra room for risk. So each task, when I start to put it in my schedule, it has small contingency time built inside it. So my total contingency time for the project equals to the micro contingency time inside each task, as well as some additional contingency time I add to my project at the very end. But when I speak about lean project management, I apply what is known as critical chain project management. And in the critical chain project management, I estimate the duration of tasks very, very precisely, or even make it like the most optimistic, or I estimate it at the very bare minimum required time to perform a task. And I divide my project into critical chains. So each part of the chain is like a phase or a stage. And for each link of the chain, I give a buffer. And I have different types of buffers. And these buffers are my only contingency with regards to risk management. And I eliminate the internal buffer inside each individual task, and I end up with a leaner schedule. When we say lean, we mean it does not have any fat, like it's a lean meat. It's a meat without fat. So lean is the bare essential. So I make my schedule lean by reducing internal contingencies within tasks using the critical chain methodology. So what are my basic lean terminology? We have value, which is organization has to correctly specify the value by asking what the customer actually wants. A value stream, organization identifies the value stream by asking if each step in the value stream really creates value. Flow, organization needs to make the remaining value creating steps for a specific flow continuous, which could shorten the entire throughput times. Pull, let the customer pull value from the enterprise so that the value streams would become a rapid response system. Kaizen, organization would never achieve lean unless it implements Kaizen, which is the Japanese word for continuous improvement. And here we mean we need to continuously improve the whole value stream. So when we speak about lean project management, we have to understand it is an aggregation of lean thinking, lean design, lean production, lean construction to end up with lean project management. So if I am asked to be a project manager for a certain project and the project sponsors told me, Akram, we want you to manage this as a lean project, then I'll have to ask, was it designed as lean? Was the contracts done as lean contracts? What is construction lean construction? Because, for example, when we speak about lean from the supply chain point of view, we are speaking about just in time and we are speaking about pull, and it's a contractual matter. So if all what's happening here is not lean, so how I cannot end up with a lean project management. So we have to understand that it is a responsibility for the organization and it is a top level decision to actually become a lean project management on enterprise level or on umbrella level of my project. But I can always, as a project manager, no matter how my company requires me to manage my project, to assume lean and agile mindsets as a mindset. So what's lean design? Lean design, we say lean construction starts with lean design. So you see here, we have lean construction here, and we say it starts with lean design. Lean design results in minimizing waste of material, time, and maximization of project value. Also, lean design is one of the main grounds of lean project management. So lean manufacturing is also in general has a capability to produce product using the least amount of non-value adding activities that add time and subsequently cost to the manufacturing process. However, it mainly means pull here for my idea of project management. It means pull because I have to, when we talk about pull system in lean manufacturing, we speak about the word Kanban, but here Kanban is totally different from the Kanban board we use for agile project management. So as a project manager, I have to send a request to the factory telling them what I need and when I need it. And if I do not send such a signal, I will not receive the material. So I have to send the Kanban in order for the factory to send me the requested material. So it has to have some form of supply chain optimization to realize lean project management and lean construction. So lean construction is a translation and adaptation of lean manufacturing principles and practices to the end-to-end design and construction process. Unlike manufacturing, construction is a project-based production. So here is very, very, very important distinction as with regards to lean manufacturing. It is, well, we studied it as a marine engineering student as a state of the art and the standard way to build ships. However, it's not all standard in other construction industries, which is, as stated here, the most practical methods of applying lean philosophy in construction are off-site manufacturing, fabrication, and modularization. So it is a mindset, like I said, agile and lean are a mindset. And when I'm speaking of agile, I am applying after I have planned everything. But here, when I speak about lean, I speak about the more sophisticated and the more specialized and the more technical aspect of planning major projects and major project work. So here I am talking about I have to stress lean philosophy by making sure I have construction of site and I have off-site manufacturing and fabrication, and I have modularization. And like for example, in the chemical and oil and gas industries, we always state, for example, for such a build, we need the minimum welds or tie-in welds on site. So we actually enforce it contractually and in our drawings, and we review this very thoroughly because of quality issues, safety issues, time issues, many advantages we get from having minimum field welds or minimum field tie-in welds. So again, we never refer to it as lean, but like I said, if I have a mindset of lean, I will always find ways to plan and design better projects using lean thinking and lean design, lean production, and lean construction, and ultimately become a lean project management entity. So lean project management, since projects are temporary production systems, when those systems are structured to deliver the product while maximizing value and minimizing waste, they are said to be lean projects. So how do we develop a lean concept? We say lean thinking and lean design. Then we have lean manufacturing, which is more value, less waste, and lean construction, which is reduction in variability, uh, prefabricated units, off-site manufacturing, modularization, lean supply, and lean assembly. And finally, when all this is aggregated, we conclude or accumulate in conclusion lean project management. So what's a lean project management procedure? I have to start up with a strategic plan, and my strategic plan shall have as the basis of its foundation lean and agile principles or lean and agile mindsets. Then I do lean design and I design in my plans reduction of variability. I perform value analysis and finally I design and detail the design according to a standard that I have established, because here I am reducing variation, and when I say reducing variation, it's eventually standardization. So lean construction, for lean construction, I need to construct, I need construction document unification, modularization, off-site manufacturing, prefabricated units, and lean assembly. Lean project management, I need project definition, uniform contracts, and identical scope and technical specification. So it has to start with a strategic plan that leads to contracts and specifications, as well as construction documents on a strategic level, and when it is applied throughout the life cycle of the project, starting from the pre-project and ending way after the project. That's when we actually end up with the maximum benefits of lean project management. So here we have differences among manufacturing and project management. We're talking about lean, of course. Supply chain, manufacturing, well-defined operations, make or buy decision are made at the beginning. For project management, supply chain is flexible operations based on resources and cost. Workforce is stable wage policy and higher employment security. Workforce varying wages depending on skill and experience, lower employment security, quality, process control, elimination of rework. And process control is what we actually mean here is statistical process control, which is quality inspection and prediction actually of behavior of the process. Here we have product conformance, like safety requirement, environmental consideration, conformance to regulations. So these are distinctions, main distinctions between manufacturing or continuous operation and project management. Also, we have lean project management versus non-lean project management. Lean projects focus is on production systems. Focuses on production systems, and non-lean projects is focus on transaction and contract. Lean project transformation, flow, and value goals. In non-lean, we only have transformation goals. In decision making, downstream and upstream players are involved. Decisions are made in order. Concurrent engineering, product and process designs are made in order. In design phase, product life cycle stages are considered. Design phase does not cover all product life cycle stages. Activities are carried out at last possible moment. Very important distinction, because we have decide later principle. Activities are carried as soon as possible. Efforts have been made to reduce lead times, split organization link with the market, and take what the market offers. For example, we reduce lead time by identifying long lead items and order or pre-order these items in a very, very early stage of my detailed engineering design, or even before that, during basic design or feed design, I start to order my long lead items. So in order, I manage the bottleneck of long lead items, because again, management of bottlenecks and constraints is essential benefit of applying a lean mindset. Learning is included in the project, firm, and supply chain management. And here learning occurs irregularly. So if I am speaking about lean project management, I have to include training and learning in my WBS, in my schedule, and in my budget, and consider it as part of my project, and understand it is an essential investment. So here buffers are occurring variably. I can't see it from here. Let me just. Buffers are built in to absorb variability. Buffers are absorbing variability. Here, buffers are locally optimized, and we discussed buffers previously. So, as our last part of this webinar, we are going to discuss waste. So here, essentially, we need to speak again about our value, our value chain, and what the value chain analysis reveals to us is what steps that definitely create value, and what steps that create no value but are necessary given the current state of the system, and what steps are not necessary and do not create value and can be eliminated. So I achieve benefit to the organization as soon as I eliminate these unnecessary steps. And sometimes when I eliminate such steps, I end up with rendering some of these steps, the steps which do not create value but are necessary. Some of them are actually in support of steps that create no value and can be eliminated. So I can end up streamlining my value chain. So what are the types of waste? We have three main categories of waste. We have Muda, we have Mura, and Muri. Why are we using Japanese terminology? Because the quality science, art and science of quality and productivity improvement really took off in Japan after the Second World War. And because of the adoption of Japan for such systems, and the most famous company ever to apply it is Toyota, of course, as well as Sony Electronics. And both ended up becoming the benchmark with regards to quality, reliability, marketability, and everything in their respective fields. So we try to copy and imitate what they are doing. So we started to learn about the Toyota production system, and we started to understand how to apply the basic science or the raw science like lean, like productivity and quality from the experience as demonstrated and illustrated by Toyota. So in the Japanese terminology, we have Muda, we have Mura, and Muri. Muda is the most famous, and we usually just refer to all wastes as Muda. However, an accurate representation is Muda, Mura, and Muri. And when I'm speaking about top level and philosophy and mindset, I really have to understand Muda, Mura, and Muri individually. So Muda is uselessness in processes, machinery, and people, which is non-essential and non-value adding steps. Mura is unevenness in customer demand, process times, or other variations. So again, fluctuations because I need to manage my resources. If I need to manage cost, I need to manage my resources. So if today I have an order that requires 1,000 employees for 2 weeks, and after 2 weeks, I have an order that requires only 50 employees. So it is a managerial nightmare when we're speaking about batch productions, of course. So with such a managerial nightmare, I cannot optimize cost. And I need to put in place contingencies, and I need to pay labor even when they are not working. And I end up with an increase in my overhead price. My indirect cost becomes so much bigger, sometimes a lot bigger than the direct costs. So when I have an even production or level production, I can reduce and more effectively manage my resources. And Muri is overburdening resulting from Mura and from removing too much Muda. So here the definition of Muri is assuming that when you remove Muda, you end up with more work that the labor has to do, which is not true. On the opposite, it will result in less work, even though more production. And of course, Mura, which is unevenness, will cause unnecessary overburden or exertion or trouble, but also illogical requests from management. Muri is most importantly here related to management decisions, which only intends to make people work, regardless of what value this work is going to add. Because some management has a mindset of if I make my employees unhappy, and if I make my employees just working around and exerting effort, I am a good manager because now I am making them work more. I am a good manager. Regardless of are they producing more or less value. Just the KPI is more work. So such useless work usually causes employees to have a very, very low job satisfaction and a very, very low morale. So here, really, Muri means management has to understand value and consistently eliminate any step or any work that it is not value adding, and only leave the value adding activities, because value adding activities will give more job satisfaction and increase the employees' morale and eventually loyalty to the organization. So we have Muri, which is unreasonableness. Like we said, here the last one is Muri. Like we said here, Muri is overburden. So we have here Muri, which unreasonableness and overburden, which is absurdity, unreasonable expectations, overburden, emotional waste. So all such managerial decisions are Muri and will end up in employees disliking their job. We have Mura, which is inconsistency and unevenness, and we need to use just in time, we need to use FIFO, and we used to use Six Sigma to study and understand our processes and streamline our value stream mapping. And we have MUDA, which is a waste and outcomes. And finally, we have WILCHIN. And finally, we have a will, because here this is mapped against PDCA, which is Plan, Do, Check, Act. So here, when we spoke about plan, we're talking about management. They need to plan their decision not to be unreasonable and not to cause overburden. And when we talk about do, we are speaking about streamline our value stream. So we don't have inconsistency and unevenness. And here, check, we need to check for our outcomes and waste. And act, we say will, motivation, and determination to do all that. So here we have waste in inventory, waste of not doing things right the first time, waste of working too hard, emotional waste of unreasonable expectations, overburden, for example, and unnecessary reporting. Absurdity is, for example, unreasonable targets. So working too hard only makes more work. And here we have an example. A Lexus car takes 16.8 hours and result in 34 defects for every 100 cars. A German car will take 80 hours. And it will have more defects per 100 cars. So we say don't be unreasonable. So challenging goals are motivators. Goals that are impossible are depressing. We are talking about Moody here. And don't be heroic. If you need to be heroic to get things done, you have a problem. You have a failure of planning. And strive for flow. We say choose the smoothest, most trouble-free way to get things done. And we say bad bosses, no bad bosses. So anyone who causes emotional chaos, inspires fear or dread, or demeans or diminishes people need to be stopped. And we say enough with the unreasonable policies. For example, forms, meetings, and approvals that are not necessary at all. They don't add any value. They are just put here in place to say we are in control. Because now we have this very important statement, which is management is the art of losing control. So sometimes you have forms, you have meetings, and you have approvals for absolutely no reason except for the manager to say, I am managing, I am in control, I take this credit. So all such activities or steps are unnecessary, and they actually have negative impact, long-term and short-term negative impact, and should be eliminated if you want to be lean. So the 7 wastes are transport, inventory, motion, waiting, overproduction, overprocessing, and defects. We have an 8th waste, which is mind. We have an acronym for the 7 wastes, which is TIMWOOD. And when we say 8 wastes, we make it TIMWOOD. So we add mind, and the 8th waste is unused talent. Some people use a different acronym for 8 wastes, and they use downtime, which is defects, overproduction, waiting, non-utilized talent, transport, inventory, motion, and extra processing. So the eighth waste is very, very critical, because when we don't use our employees' creativity, we lose time, we lose ideas, we lose skills, we lose improvements and learning opportunities. All this happens by not engaging or listening to employees. So we say waste is a crime, and the opposite of waste is to have a lean and agile enterprise. So by eliminating waste, we end up with a lean and agile enterprise, and a lean and agile enterprise is capable of owning and managing and producing lean and agile projects as well. So everything that stands in the way is waste. What we mean by stands in the way, we mean stands in the way of flow of value. It is no exaggeration that in a low growth period, such waste is crime against society more than a business loss. So if you are a manager in a country that is underdeveloped, or you are a manager in a developed country but in a low growth or a depression period, and you do not take your organizational results seriously, so you end up causing waste, which produces losses. So here losses is not only in such periods and in such countries, such waste is not only against the organization, no, it's against the entire society, because already resources are very limited inside the entire economy, because it's a low economical point. So either because of geography or because of chronography or chronology, because of time or because of place, you end up having a critical situation where it is an obligation for every manager to be lean and agile. Otherwise, his actions are actually near criminal, because it is a crime against society more than it is a business loss in such situations. So eliminating waste or being lean and agile must be a business's first objective. Like I've started my presentation, unless an organization is lean and agile in such an international and competitive business environment, the chances of survival and prosperity are extremely limited. With being lean and agile, you only get a fair chance to compete. So even being lean and agile does not guarantee success. However, it guarantees a fair and just chance and opportunity to compete. So when you are not lean and agile, you don't even stand a chance. You cannot even compete to start off with. So senior management needs to believe that impediments are merely criminal. And what we mean by impediments, again, we mean things that stand in the way of flow of value. So we need to have a mindset shift, which is waste. We think of waste as a black box. We call it waste. And we do not identify it, because when we say the first pass to affiliation is the correct framing of the question. So if I'm speaking about waste as a black box, I don't even have the right question. I need to eliminate waste. Okay, let's eliminate waste. And we leave it there because we really don't understand the issue. But when I start to have my Tim Wood or downtime, I start to produce my cost of quality report. So I have to produce what is known as a cost of quality report. Cost of quality report. I have to have my SIPOC in place. I have to have my SIPOC in place. I have to have my value stream map in place and inspect my cost of quality for defects, for over processing, for overproduction, for waiting, for inventory, for transportation. That's an M. For motion, extra motion. So I have to, motion and movement. I have to understand the categories, or I have to categorize waste as a first step to understand it. After I categorize it, I start to quantify it, I start to investigate it, I start to analyze it, and I start to produce solutions. I test the solutions and I reiterate until I reach the most optimum solution. And of course, we said we have 7 weights, and the 8th waste, which is mind or employees' skills, which is maybe the most important waste, which we tend to really ignore and overlook. And when we say lean and agile is a mindset, and it has to be assumed and adopted by senior management first, then when senior management really believe about adoption of lean and agility, we come to this slide. We come back to this slide. We come to this slide where we say we have empowerment and we have respect and integrity of our people. So if my top management really believes in the lean project management principles and strive to eliminate waste, empower people, adopt lean mind as other techniques of lean, such as decide later, deliver fast, amplify learning, see the whole picture, and of course, like we said, risk management. And here we mean mainly critical chain. When we say risk management as it relates to project management in particular, we are speaking about critical chain project management. And we can realize a lean and agile enterprise which can create, lead, and manage agile and lean, or lean and agile projects. And now that we have come to the end of this webinar, I thank you very much for your attendance and attention, and wish you a very, very pleasant evening and a good night.